I'm Eric Barnes with the Daily Memphian, and welcome to The Sidebar, a weekly show on the community, arts, culture, and more. Today we're talking with Katie Smythe of New Ballet Ensemble, but really talking about the new art school she's heading up at the former Humes Middle School site. So stay with us for a conversation with Katie. Katie, thanks for being here again.
Thank you for having me.
It was a very complicated introduction of New Ballet. But now there's this new art school that you're founding and getting. Give the 30 seconds of what this new school is about, and then we'll go deep into it.
It is about being a magnet for children who know that their passion lies in the arts and in technology, how technology is applied to the arts and the future of arts innovation, and making sure they are in a place of learning that helps them follow their passions instead of working against their passions with the traditional format of institutional public education. So a public school that provides the arts and academics in one spot, breaking a lot of barriers to poverty, including, and most importantly, transportation. So,
okay, well, we'll get there. Yeah. Okay. It's the former Humes Middle School. Mm-hmm. You've put it. Did you buy it? Did a nonprofit buy it, or you guys have an option on it?
Memphis Shelby County School Board approved us to purchase it, so we're in due diligence, which just began this week. Okay. So I think we come out of due diligence around May 13th, and we're learning all about the structural integrity,
this is about the building due diligence, what it's going to take,
yes,
all the kind
about
of facilities,
the facility and what it's going to take.
And it will be a charter school, a governor's school. Like what? There's a different types of schools. Do you know yet what your legal structure?
Yes, I mean, it's even in our strategic plan, which New Ballet started to launch and support this school, this separate entity. It is a contract school. Okay. And a contract school, most people are familiar with campus school at the University of Memphis, and then now middle and high. Now, of course, they have their own LEA, but for 100 plus years, they were a contract school with Memphis Shelby County School District. And so we seek to have the same kind of autonomy and influence over the academics and how the day is structured, and all of that needs to be carefully laid out. And it could be with any LEA, to be quite honest.
LEA is, again,
a local education agency.
Oh, not what I thought it was. Okay, I'm glad I said that. Local
education agency. Sorry for the acronym.
No, it's fine. It's fine. So, and then the formal name right now, Memphis Middle and High School for the Arts and Technology.
Yes.
The technology part, I had missed. I knew about the arts because I associate, we've known each other for a long time. Mm-hmm. Our kids grew up together. Mm-hmm. And, associate you with New Ballet Ensemble. We'll talk for a minute about Nut Remix coming up and all that. So the technology thing, has that always been part of it, or did that evolve as you were kind of exploring how these schools could operate elsewhere in here?
Well, going back to your first question just a little bit to tie this in, we won the National Arts and Humanities Youth Program Award, New Ballet did, from the Michelle Obama President's Committee on the Arts and the Humanities in 2014. And one of the others in our cohort, only 12 organizations from around the country, creative youth development organizations, were chosen for this award. It was a difficult process to go through. It was worth it. It was amazing to meet colleagues from around the country with similar missions to develop youth through the arts. And we met the Gabriella School there in California. And they had been running for decades an after-school program around Koreatown in downtown LA. And they turned it into a charter school. California laws are different than Tennessee, so I could explain that. It's kind of boring. But so it became one of the most successful charters, and it was dance only. So I started researching these schools, and I joined the Art Schools Network, and I've now been to, about 7 cities and 23 schools that I've researched and learned about since about 2017. And increasingly, I've seen we need to have 5 conservatories minimum. Denver School of the Arts has 12 art forms that they cover, but we need to start with 5. Chicago has 5. Baltimore has 5. It's a good number, and to address all different kinds of creative aptitude, from set building and technology. That's where a lot of the technology and design comes in, to the performing arts, to the visual arts. So that a multiplicity of kids, a diversity of children with diverse talents can come together in this innovative, creative spot, innovate together, create the next greatest thing. And of course, the next thing we all have to address in the arts is technology and how it's going to influence the field, because we want to produce professional artists from Memphis. And following in the footsteps of Lil Buck,
Yeah.
You know, Aretha Franklin didn't live here very long, but she was here for quite a while. Lil Smythe, who wound up at the Dance Theater of Harlem, went to Hamilton High. You know, but we don't want these to be extraordinary one-offs. We want hundreds of children that are filling the field, the artistic field around the world, coming from Memphis.
And so what for the school will focus on which arts programs or which artistic endeavors?
Sure.
How do I say that? I'm saying it dumbly. So performance, theater.
Oh, yes.
Painting, sculpture, like
dance, theater, ensemble music, the fine arts, which covers all of the fine arts, you know, all of the visual arts, and production and design. And as someone just said recently at one of our Art School Network's conferences, if we're just focused on last spring's concert, technology is going to take root and pass us by, and we'll be left behind. And so we have this benefit of starting fresh and starting with integrating technology into the academics, into the arts.
Yeah. Middle and high school. So will you start with like one grade and grow, like Crosstown High School did that? Other charter schools have done that. You start and then you just build every year.
Either 1 or 2 grades. We may, actually, we're really seriously looking at starting with 6th and 9th.
Oh.
Because we need a space also to be in before Humes is finished with the construction, and the fundraising might take 3.5 years. And that's being optimistic, but we're aiming for 2029, 2030 school year to open the doors. So, and there are rooms in various places that we could occupy that are are zoned to be schools, but we're going to have to travel and migrate a little bit. And the doors are wide open at U of M for a 9th grade, because the reason we're starting with 6th grade for the school is there must be a pathway. Well, there also has to be a pathway to college.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of kids who can't leave Memphis to go to college. I mean, we have kids that are getting full rides to Howard right now. That's great, but it's not going to be 20 kids every year. It's going to be 2 kids every year. And we need to help fill the spots here that have low enrollment in our colleges. It might be Rhodes, it might be U of M. And so we're exploring how could we use some space there to get the school started.
It will funding, like broadly speaking, break down the funding mix. I mean, this is supported by a nonprofit that MemArts, you're calling it, right? And you got to fundraise, but then you're going to get state, local, federal money.
Yeah.
Like, give me the snapshot of funding.
Contract schools receive TISA funding the way charter schools do. Charter schools just have rules around admissions. It's a lottery process. And we need to be successful to have a success rate. We must audition for creative aptitude.
Okay.
So no prior academic success is required. No prior experience in the arts is required. It's kind of the way we auditioned Lil Buck when he came to visit the first time when he was 16. He just danced for us, and we changed the music, and he changed his dancing, and we could see that he was a genius. He just wanted a toolkit to pull from.
Yeah. Can I take a side note on that? One of the best designers, I've worked with a ton of graphic designers and layout people over the years back in the print days and the digital days. One of the best ever, Brad Johnson. He emailed me this funny note because I had an ad out and I thought I'd get a portfolio and links and but he just sent me this really nice email. And I said, I'm going to meet with this kid. He sounded like a kid. Came in. He told me later he borrowed a suit. Really great young guy. And he just said, I want to do this. I'm at a point where I need to get a regular job. I've been doing these other things. And I've used all the tools, but I don't really have a resume or portfolio, but I could draw you a picture.
There you go.
And I said, you don't even need to draw the picture. Let's do this. And he really was one of the best, both his graphics and also just his work ethic and his ability to have a profession. He actually ultimately got into programming and all this kind of stuff. But I just remember that, like, he looked around my office and he was like, if you have a pen, and I'll just draw you a picture. I thought that might kind of show what I could do. It's so incredible. Because arts kids are different. I mean, they're just different in the best ways.
As Caroline Kennedy recently said about her offspring, Jack, who's now running for office, you're just a different kind of kid.
Yeah.
Hurt his back playing basketball, so he discovered ballet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it healed him, and so he dances, and he has to explain that to people. Yeah. We always have to explain ourselves in the arts because we're like 1% of the population, the people who are just born to do this. But, I was really lucky because I went to Memphis Central High School. I am forever a Central warrior. I never want to be, we don't want our school to be perceived to be in competition with any other school because it's going to be unlike any other school. It's a freestanding arts school with academics. But Mrs. Leffler made that possible for me. She just knew. I told her, I'm going to be a dancer. I mean, there was no doubt about it, just like your friend. I'm going to be a dancer. I'm not sure I'm going to go to college. I want to go straight into a professional company. And she said, okay, we're going to give you the best education you can get, and we're going to involve your passions. And she signed me up for AP Humanities in the 9th grade, which was a challenging course, but it was my passion, and so I did well. And biology and all the things, French, all the things that would support my career.
And that's true. Again, just going through the basics because we keep bouncing around.
Yeah.
But and that's on me that we're bouncing around. But there'll be all the reading, writing, arithmetic, all those kinds of things at this school. STEM. Okay. About how many kids per grade are you aiming for? You'll launch at something and grow to something, I assume?
Yes, we're going to launch it with 60 kids per grade. We'd love to reach a capacity of 90 kids per grade. That will take years.
Yeah.
So to be prudent, 60 kids per grade with a capacity of 420 by the time we build out 12th grade.
How much money are you going to have to raise? How much, in ballpark, we had an estimate. Now, this was different. We did a big analysis. Laura Testino on our staff did a big analysis of all the facilities in Memphis, Shelby County schools. There's a lot of unused ones. Humes Middle, which had a charter school, ASD school in there up until, a year and a half ago. But I can't remember. It's hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars of deferred maintenance across the whole system. I think the number for Humes, with a different mission, just the kind of generic, this is what the system has identified, was close to $17 million.
Yeah, it was 26.
26, okay.
$26 million in deferred maintenance, yeah. No elevators, no ADA.
Yeah.
Remediation needed, hazardous materials.
What are you doing,
Look
Katie?
at me smiling.
No, you're right.
Why does this make me smile? Because dancers like really hard things.
Yeah.
And because I just believe, instead of it being project specific, our passion is people specific. We're just so lucky that Humes is there saying, he's like Little Shop of Horrors, feed me. It's got this 1,200 seat auditorium. It has wide hallways where all of these creative innovators can pass each other and share ideas and eat lunch. It's got light. It has classrooms that were built around post-war 1945, that are big enough to house 6 dance studios without having to build walls or knock down walls. It's just, not only where Elvis went to school, but he loved woodshop. For example, it was one of his favorite activities at school. He thought his voice was changing. He thought he'd never sing, so he did a lot of woodshop. That was his artistic endeavor at school. But it's huge, and it's a set shop and paint shop. It's there. The bones are there. And I think the new school in Fraser is going to be close to a $200 million project. It may have gone up since the tariffs, et cetera. This is a $100 million project, and that includes operational money. It's a comprehensive campaign and endowment. Yeah. So hard costs, $54 million, with soft costs, wiring and all the accoutrement you need for the arts, about $74 million. Yeah. I will say, when you all published, thank you, my opinion piece, when we were going through the vote with the Memphis Shelby County School Board, I immediately got emails from some people who were dormant donors saying, I want to fund your theater. Call me when you're ready.
Wow.
So it's just generated that kind of momentum and interest from everyone. The Chamber of Commerce is interested in it.
Yeah.
I haven't spoken to anyone. City Council loves it. The mayor loves it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's emphasized it from before he took office, arts and the and embracing all that. That 74, that's philanthropy to get off the ground. Philanthropy and a mix of government money, or no? That'll all be philanthropy. Okay.
Yeah, we hope. We really hope. The state is being asked for a lot of money right now, and we don't want to be greedy, and we don't want to get in the way of excellent initiatives in the medical district, for example, because we're adjacent to the medical district. If you think about how close we are to St. Jude, UT, med school, social services, not Salvation Army, Neighborhood Christian Center. So what we really want to do is build a coalition of partners that are specific to the success that the students are expected to reach. And that's going to be wraparound services and the arts. Yeah. And then get in line for money at the state, but not try to compete with those projects because we want to be partnership focused and not competitive. I mean, competition breeds excellence. I believe in competition, but there's a little bit too much of it in this town. We all have kind of this scarcity mentality, and I think we can stand back and let other folks get their funding before we go to the table.
We'll talk
Probably
much more.
said too much, but
no, not at all. Let me just take a minute and remind everyone we're here with Katie Smythe. You know her from New Ballet Ensemble. She's the founder, now chief of strategy there, but she is leading this effort to turn Humes Middle School into the Memphis Middle and High School for the Arts and Technology, MEMARTS for short. And we'll talk much, much more about that. But I'll remind everyone, this is The Sidebar. I'm Eric Barnes. The Sidebar airs on WYXR 91.7 every Thursday at 11:30. Focus on the community, arts, culture, and everything in between. This is kind of the definition of community, arts, culture, and everything in between, by the way. This is not just a radio show, though. It's one of many podcasts we do at the Daily Memphian, including our morning podcast with Natalie Van Gundy, who's sitting next to me producing this show, along with Mary Casciola, our editorial director. We also do the Memphis Grizzlies podcast with Chris Arrington and Drew Hill, and our food podcast, Sound Bites, hosted by Holly Whitfield. Sound Bites also airs here on WYXR every Thursday at 11, right before The Sidebar. We also host the podcast version of Behind the Headlines, the TV show we produce with the folks at WKNO every week. All of our podcasts are on the Daily Memphian site, as well as iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can get the WYXR shows, that's The Sidebar and Soundbites, on the WYXR app or at WYXR.org. That includes all the WYXR shows, talk shows, music shows, archives of all those shows. You can keep up with what all the many DJs are doing. Also, consider becoming a supporter of WYXR. It's nonprofit, listener-supported radio. You can become a member. You get all kinds of benefits. I should also mention Raised by Sound is coming up soon. I've totally drawn a blank and did not write down on when Steve Malcolmus and a whole lot of other musicians will be at Crosstown as part of Raised by Sound for WYXR, but that's coming up soon. I think you can still get tickets, and some stuff is unticketed. So go to the site to get all the info there. Also, last bit, make sure to become a paid subscriber to the Daily Memphian if you aren't already. We are a nonprofit supported primarily by subscriptions, advertising, events, but also through donations. The largest newsroom in the region, and just celebrated our 7th anniversary. Coming up soon on The Sidebar, we have a great conversation with with Every Story, used to be known as Playback Memphis. They've now 16 years or something like that, almost 17 years. And we recently had Grind City Amp, the big amphitheater going up at the Grind City Brewing in North Memphis, as well as a show about the first Sunday Jazz Jam pop-up series. On Behind the Headlines coming up soon, we've got Mayor Lee Harris, we've got Roderick Richmond, the interim superintendent, and we recently had Justin Pearson on, who is the state House rep, who has also declared his candidacy for the U.S. House of Representatives, the seat held by Steve Cohen, who was on the show the week before that. We had Josh Spickler and Cardell Oren on recently talking about the Memphis Safe Task Force, as well as Mayor Paul Young. Last bit, commercial real estate, our business seminar, December 4th at 3 p.m. Paul Young will be hosting that. That's at the Botanic Garden. You do need to get tickets. And you get those in advance by going to Daily Memphians, go through the navigation, pick seminars, or you can go right to Eventbrite, search for Daily Memphian, and you'll get all the details on the commercial real estate seminar coming up December 4th at 3 p.m. Paul Young will be there, do a talk, do a Q&A with me, and then we'll have a bunch of business professionals talking about all things, not just commercial real estate, but just all things business in Memphis. But we are still here with Katie Smythe talking about the Memphis Middle and High School for the Arts and Technology. I mean, this is a daunting project. But, it's funny because we have known our kids, again, Will and Reed were roughly the same age. And so I would say when you were starting New Ballet, you're tenacious.
And everybody kept saying, can you really do this? Does Memphis really have, because our mission at New Ballet is professional standard of training, regardless of the ability to pay. There's this perception that children from Memphis somehow don't have the talent. So you have to remind people about stacks and, the fact that we had, at the time, 2 symphony orchestras, an opera company. Now there are 3 dance institutions with budgets over $1.5 million. It's a remarkable city. Just listening to you talk about all the people you're interviewing. I love living in Memphis. But I think sometimes we just don't appreciate or facilitate the talent that's here. And so that was my mission, and everybody said it's impossible, but we did it. It's very strenuous when people are telling you can't do this or let us do it instead.
But you're kind of the person that just get a little bit madder.
What do I care? Yeah, tell me I can't do it, and then you're going to just make it better.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't help that. I'm like my dad in that regard.
Yeah.
And the thing is you just have to care more about the people and the kids and the community than you do about other people's opinions on what you can and can't do, and that's what drives it.
Yeah.
It's just, I love this quote, if I may,
Sure.
from Ken Robinson. His TED Talks are amazing. The whole system of public education around the world is a protracted process of university entrance. And the consequence is that many highly talented, brilliant, creative people think they're not, because the only thing they were good at in school wasn't valued or was actually stigmatized. That's how I felt growing up. To be honest, I loved the small private school our kids went to and that I went to as a child. I felt very loved there and still love my teachers and headmasters, but they had to have a lot of compassion for me because I was a different kind of kid.
Yeah.
I couldn't beat the boys home from the playground back to school. I could beat them because I was so fast. But at the same time, different things interested in me. I wasn't going to be on the volleyball team. I wasn't going to, play kickball without looking like a ballet dancer. I was going to be teased because I was different. And the beautiful thing you see in these schools around the country is you walk in and the first thing you see is kids who are happy to be honored for their creativity and their innovation. And they're just Hogwarts. There's no better comparison to make than Hogwarts.
It's interesting schools that meet kids where they are and that resonate. And you and I both know enough. It's pretty remarkable. How will this school, you mentioned Stax, there's also Overton, Overton High has a arts program.
Well, Stax is an academy. It's an after-school program.
I'm sorry, I should say
and
Soulsville
is a charter school with I'm sure they have an orchestra program, but it's not an arts
It's
school.
a good reminder.
And I think people there's confusion around it, so it's good to be clear. I mean, they have a very high success rate getting kids into college. They're focused on an academic education almost exclusively. They do have some arts, and of course, kids can cross the campus and go to Stax if they want to. And Overton is a public school. It ends at 2:15. So, for example, this school will start at 8 o'clock in the morning, academic block schedule, lunch, and then the kids have 3 hours of conservatory every single day with rehearsals after. So we're breaking those barriers to a parent having to take a kid to school, pick them up, then back to an after-school program, and perhaps the child can't do that because they have to babysit their younger siblings or they have to get a job to support their families. This really facilitates everything in one building in one day.
The day ends when?
5 o'clock.
Okay. Yeah.
Decent out time, but you've taken care of all of it. And then we will have an after-school program where we'll engage programs like Angel Street, which is in North Memphis, in the neighborhood. Memphis Jazz Workshop has signed on to be an after-school partner. New Ballet Ensemble will be an after-school provider as well. Peer Power will be doing after-school ACT, tutoring, college prep, mentoring. Yeah.
Creating professions, creating people and aiming for a profession. Mm-hmm. Those professions range from what to what? Is it everyone's an actor and everyone's a dancer, or is it also set design or the back of the house type stuff, or
everything that goes into a theater? So if you walk into a Broadway show, you've got people behind the scenes who have designed and put together the costumes, who've designed and put together the lighting plot, who are working on projection, who are engineering floors that open and close, or a chandelier that falls from the sky, who have designed the sets and built them, so there's construction, who've welded those sets, who are working the fly rails, who are calling the show, all of whom are union members with great jobs, able to support their families in New York City. Then you have the musicians in the pit who can transpose at the drop of a hat because the soprano has a sore throat. Everyone is being trained at MemArts to be able to fill all of those slots.
Jeff Coran, who's a professor or instructor at University of Memphis, board member of WYXR, I think still has a show on WYXR, and he does a class on the sort of the business of music, and he's been a producer, and he's done producer. He does the travel manager for various groups and so on, and he talks about how in music, part of what he tells his students is, in some cases, you may just have multiple gigs. That's part of being an artist. You're going to do your own music. You're going to work with other people and maybe be the backup drummer to them. And then you're going to produce, and then you're going to work on, production, and then you're going to piece together an income.
So the business of being an artist it's absolutely important for kids to get in high school, because they may or may not get that in college.
Right.
So we want them to go to college if they're in a BFA program or a BA program, already knowing I'm the commodity. I have to, for lack of a better way to put it, sell my talents to the buyer. I have to market myself. I have to have the picture, the resume, the bio. I have to understand what the resume looks like. It has to be professionally done. All of those things will be taught.
What's so interesting about this too is, it's not a digression, but I don't know. It's a family friend, not from Memphis, young person about the age of our kids, and she was promised a lot by one of the big music one of the big colleges that the name of, and was really kind of promised that once you get in, everything's going to be, yeah. And I've heard that story before. I was at, and getting a Master of Fine Arts, a gazillion years ago, there were people getting, I was at least doing fiction, there were the people getting Master of Fine Arts MFAs in poetry. And I was kind of like, and so how are you going to pay the bill? And there was an unreasonable expectation that I think some of the Columbia, School of the Arts was an amazing experience, but I always knew I'm going to have a day job. I can write fiction, and I've published books and short stories, but the number of people who pay the bills writing fiction is actually very, very small. And I love that you, in the same way that Stax talks about it, the same way Jeff Curran talks about it, talk about the practicalities and realities of being a working artist.
Mm-hmm. Well, so Max Reed, who's one of our graduates, is a really good example. Max was told he wasn't educable at the time. He tried Memphis City schools. He tried Shelby County schools. Everyone just told his mom, we can't really do anything with him. He's probably going to throw boxes for the rest of his life. So she said, I'm taking him home. And he came to New Ballet at age 14, and he started dancing, and we saw the gift in him. He joined our apprenticeship program. He learned how to teach. He had to teach because that's part of the apprenticeship program. So most of our students who are graduating out of our high school program, if they stay in Memphis, become apprentices. They're paid to train. They're paid for their professional development, and they're teaching in public schools all over Memphis right now. So you do build teachers. Most artists are teachers. Most Memphis Symphony Orchestra players are also doing private lessons on the side. So there are ways around your art form. But Max did Spider-Man. He was featured in Spider-Man. He did Beetlejuice on Broadway. He's now really interested in lighting design, and he's just helped choreograph and produce a show about epilepsy and a little boy whose sister has debilitating epilepsy. And for that, Max designed the lighting for photosensitive people so that they won't be triggered when they come to see the show.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's been adopted on Broadway. So we're talking about innovators. It doesn't matter if I got on a soap opera. That's where I met my kid's husband.
That's right.
I did ballet companies. I did soap operas. I did plays. I taught in Santa Monica when I was in an equity show. But so I was a triple threat. I could sing, dance, and act, and play the piano too. So I guess a quadruple threat. So we hope to produce some quadruple threats because there are more jobs when you can do more things. And Max is a triple threat. He produces commercials. He mixes music. I can't tell you how many of our dancers are also mixing beats till 2:00 in the morning because they're rolling in at 9:30, coming to class tired from mixing beats. It's like once you give people a platform for their talents, it's kind of like those things on Star Trek that multiplied. What were they called?
The Troubles with Tribbles.
We're looking at Natalie. She's like,
we know. Natalie, forget her. She was next generation over here. Boy, it's Deep Space Nine. I don't know what's going on over there.
They start coming out of the closets, They're just like, with all of this talent and all this possibility. But I've got Hogwarts and Star Trek in there now. But if you squelch a child's creativity, if you see that daydreamer, Dunbar Elementary, there was a little boy who was a daydreamer and he could not write legibly, but we were there to help adjudicate a writing contest or for kids, a creative writing contest. And so his principal translated it, and she wrote it out cleanly so we could all read it. It was about a little boy in a rainstorm And all of a sudden he becomes a raindrop and he rolls into the gutter and he hears the police coming. And it was this kid's whole life about seeing cops on the street and hearing gunshots at night. And he's a raindrop in the gutter. That's a Pixar movie. And if he had only been judged by his spelling and his legibility, he would have failed.
Right.
But this principal, Lori Phillips, I'm going to give her the credit. She's at Memphis Shelby County Schools now in the community schools program. She saw it. And she said, what he needs is encouragement towards this gift. That is, I still think there's a Pixar movie in that little boy's imagining. That's the audition.
Yeah.
Tell me your story.
We'll leave it there, other than asking you what your first concert you went to. What was your first concert?
My first dance concert?
No, concert. Like band. Like, some people...
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. My dad owned the transportation company that ferried the Beatles and Rod Stewart
did they really?
and David
Premier
Bowie.
Transportation.
But I hate to say it, I think my first concert at Memphis Mid-South Coliseum was Paul Anka.
Nice. Oh, that's a good
old
one.
I am.
That's a good one.
That
I
and
like
Star
that.
Trek reference.
I like that one. Katie Smythe of Memphis Middle and High School for the Arts and Technology. We'll be writing about it. You'll learn more. It's obviously, you said it's going to be a multi-year project here. Also, people know her from this founder of New Ballet Ensemble. Thanks for coming back.
Thank you. It was fun.
All right. That is all the time we have this week. Please do join us again next week.